I know, it sucks. The federal moratorium is over. I'm not happy about it, trust me. Congress recently passed a law preventing further extensions of the payment pause. Student loan interest will begin today, September 1st, and payments can start as early as October. So I'm sure some of you are getting notices in the mail saying, Sally Mae want their money, Nelnet want their money. Even though President Biden's student loan forgiveness was blocked by the Supreme Court earlier this year, there's some cancellation still happening. Let me tell you how. Recently, I was able to help one of my clients cancel over $40,000 in student loans. I could charge for this service, but really it's free. So I'd rather just give you the content and you can do it on your own. One thing to note that on Wednesday, the Department of Education canceled over $72 million in federal student loans for more than 2,300 borrowers who attended the for-profit school Ashford University in California. Of course, this is just an extension of Obama's forgiveness program. Remember, 2010, all these for-profit schools were popping up and taking advantage of giving student loans out and pumping up their profits? Well, the jig is up. For-profit schools were trash back then, still are trash, and many of the degrees can't even be used. They practice predatory lending just to get you in their school. Some of these schools have closed, some of these schools have been exposed. I'm glad this is happening, and they're finally paying the price. This has been around for decades. The only tricky thing is that the Department of Education is still tracking these schools down. Keep in mind that Ashford University has been doing this since 2009. So why am I even bringing this up? While it sucks for those right now who are drowning in student loan debt, what really happened to Biden's student loan relief program? And why was it blocked? One, they, the government, the judges, determined that the executive branch, the Biden boys, don't have the authority to take this action of wiping out student loan debt without congressional approval. Still, shout out to Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sonia Sotomayor, who was on our side and at least tried to throw some votes to help us out. But unfortunately, if you know, you know. We had comments from so many different people, in particular, Vice President Mike Pence. Here's what he had to say. Joe Biden's massive $1 trillion student loan bailout subsidizes the education of elites on the backs of hardworking Americans. It was an egregious violation of the Constitution for him to attempt to do so unilaterally with the stroke of an executive pen. Really? We were helping out the elites here? Not even lawyers and doctors can afford groceries now. Everybody's complaining. But this would help out bankers and lawyers in liberal cities? Really? I'm trying to remember. Help me remember a time when the government stepped in to save bankers and to save lawyers, lobbyists. Now, let me jog your memory. In 2007, a subprime mortgage crisis was happening in America. It wasn't happening to the mom and pops, wasn't happening to your local stores. It was big entities like Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns. They collapsed due to their part and involvement in the subprime lending practice. So in 2008, the federal government created the Troubled Asset Relief Program, TARP, a $700 billion government bailout designed to keep troubled banks and other companies in operation. Through TARP, around $245 billion of taxpayer money was used to stabilize over 700 banks. As part of the plan, the government bought preferred stock in troubled banks such as Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, Bank of New York, Mellon and State Street Bank. That's a lot of banks, and the list keeps going. We the people were pissed. We hated the idea of a bank bailout. If you ever got an ATM fee, efficient fund fee, credit card interest, you got hit with all these erroneous fees, you were super pissed about this. Most need to know though, how did that controversial act get passed and made into law? It was passed by Congress and signed into law by President George Bush. It was George Bush that signed the document. It was a Republican. But the key phrase I want you to hear is that it was passed by Congress. This is something Joe Biden's trying to jump over. At the time, the Republicans controlled the House when that stimulus was put out. It was easy for them to draft a law, present it to Congress, sign it into law, and that's how the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act of 2008 was created. The Senate vote was 74-25 in Congress. The House passed it 263-171, majority Democratic vote. And the Republicans were against it. They had the most nays. So right now, in the 118th Congress, right now, today, September 1st, the seats sit 49 Republicans and 48 Democrats. 3 independents, split. In the House, it's controlled by the Republicans. Of the 435 seats in the House, 222 are held by the Republicans. Democrats hold 212 seats. The Republicans were bound to shut down Joe Biden's plan. Now, TARP was a $245 billion program that helped more than banks. I'll admit that. It helped folks stay in their homes, helped GM and Chrysler stay open to keep jobs in the area, helped AIG stay open to keep jobs in the area, and keep money flowing in the economy. Some say TARP's no-string loan essentially acted as a reward for bad behavior, though. It sent the message that if you act irresponsibly, the government's here to help you out. It created a dangerous precedent of dependency on the government, which I agree. We only recovered $441 billion of the $426 that we invested. And we damn sure know some of that went to executives' bonuses, executive furniture, executive vacations, golden parachutes. It was spent with little oversight. Biden's student loan program could cost $400 billion of taxpayer money over a 30-year period. That's a lot of money. We don't know how it will impact the economy, but I know it would provide some type of relief. But even if you just set your party lines aside and say, hey, this is a horrible economic time, let's just cancel interest at this point in time and help boost economic spend. I think that makes sense. If you think times are hard now, wait until Sally Mae and Nelnet get back in their BS and start hitting you guys with interest as these payments are coming due, especially after seeing this. Yeah, you remember. They gonna want their money, and they gonna want it now. Moral of the story, the government's not here to help you. So get a jacket, snuggle up, it's gonna be a cold winter. It's Debtfreedeem. Cancelar, Navidad.